If you've had a blast flying smaller model rockets with A, B, or C motors, and you're looking up wondering what's next, then this video is for you.
Welcome to Advanced Construction Videos, where we show you how to tackle rocketry, building techniques, and more. On our website, we sell kits, motors, building supplies, and electronics. So come and learn, shop, build, and fly when you visit us at apogeerockets.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan from Apogee Components, and today we're going to break down the move from small model rockets to the exciting world of mid-power rocketry. We'll cover what to expect, what's different, and how you can take the next step safely and confidently. By the end of this short guide, you'll understand the key differences in motors, materials, and safety you need for flying E, F, and G powered rockets. Now, making this jump can feel intimidating. You might be worried about the complexity, using new glues and building techniques. You might fear losing a more expensive rocket that you spent hours building. And you're probably wondering, is it safe? Where can I even launch something this powerful? These are all valid concerns. But the reason you're watching is because you're drawn to the thrill. You want to hear that roar, not just a hiss. You want to build something substantial, a real engineering project that you can be proud of and watch it climb thousands of feet into the sky. So let's break down how to overcome those fears and achieve that thrill you seek. The first and biggest difference is the motors. You're used to the letter system, where each letter up roughly doubles the power. That jump from a C to an E is a huge leap in performance. Think of it this way. An E motor has at least 4 times the power of the largest C motor you've used. And you probably heard about reload motor casings that you can reuse. These can save you money if you fly a lot, but if you're just moving up, I'd still suggest that you use single-use motors just to keep things simple. After you've mastered the additional power of mid-power rocketry, you can always try out reloads later. A more powerful motor means the rocket will experience much greater forces. Your building techniques need to be stronger to match. So the first thing I recommend is to pay more attention to making a quality model. Concentrate on improving your skills and techniques. If you need help, watch some of our other rocket construction videos, and we'll turn you into that expert. To handle the stresses, you'll be moving from balsa to stronger woods like basswood or even plywood for your fins. The glues you used to use, like wood glue or even super glue, will also be used to make mid-power rockets. But in addition, you'll learn to use 2-part epoxy. It creates a much stronger, heat-resistant bond that is excellent to create large, strong fin fillets that keep your fins on and also reduce drag. Instead of just gluing fins to the surface, you'll see techniques like through-the-wall fins for much more strength. The simple metal clip may be replaced by a sturdy screw-on motor retainer to ensure that the powerful motor stays put. Getting a heavier rocket up and back down safely requires some new equipment. That thin 1/8 inch launch rod you've been using isn't stable enough for a bigger rocket. Mid-power rockets may use a 1/4 inch rod or maybe even a launch rail with rail buttons or rail guides. This provides a much more stable guide for the first few feet of flight. Everything in your recovery system needs to be upgraded. You'll use a larger, stronger ripstop nylon parachute, a thick tubular nylon or Kevlar shock cord, and often a Nomex flame-proof blanket to protect it all instead of using disposable wadding. This might seem like a lot, but here is the simple, safe way to start. First and most importantly, we encourage you to find a local rocketry club. Your schoolyard or local park is no longer big enough. Clubs have access to large approved sites and all the necessary launch equipment like launch rails. That is going to save you a lot of time and effort in finding a place to launch. They are also full of experienced members who can mentor you. In the United States, you can find clubs through the National Association of Rocketry or the EEE Rocketry Association. Start with a good mid-power kit. Here at Apogee, we offer a wide variety of kits. A great first choice is the Aerodactyl. It is a straightforward build with strong through-the-wall fins, and it has an impressive size that will make you proud. Before you fly, I also encourage you to use software like our RockSim. You can build your rocket virtually, test different motors, and see how high and how fast it will go. It's a fantastic tool for ensuring a stable, safe flight. You can even run it in the launch visualizer to see how it will fly from your launch field, and if the recovery will be easy and quick. So we started talking about those hesitations, the fear of complexity, of failure, of not knowing where to start. But as you've seen, every one of those fears has a solution. Stronger building techniques handle the complexity, upgraded skills and recovery gear protects your investment, and joining a club solves the safety and location problem. By taking these steps, you've not only surpassed those fears, you've opened the door to an even more rewarding hobby. Now you can fly rockets that carry altimeters to tell you exactly how high you went. This is your gateway to learning about dual deployment for safer recoveries and extreme altitudes, and even carrying onboard cameras to capture that amazing footage. You're no longer just launching a rocket, you're conducting a mission. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more rocketry content. And if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. I'd love to help you on your journey. Again, my name is Tim Van Milligan, and you've been watching the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. May the winds be light, may the skies be blue, and may all your rockets fly straight and true.